Welcome to Podtendo's Top 10 list. Listen to the show, we'll explain it. I can't explain it during the opening. Enjoy! Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we're doing our top 10 lists in honor of our 10th year, which I think we're now into our 10th season of doing this podcast about old video games and stuff from our childhood, nostalgia. I'm not really sure what the thesis of this show is sometimes. I'm your co-host Nick, and I'm joined by
Tyson.
Yeah, solid, nice, cool. Podtendo top 10 lists. We've done a bunch. We just did Saturday morning cartoons 2 weeks ago. Now we're back. We're doing another video game related one. Probably our last kind of video game related one, because going forward everything becomes very whitewashed from kind of this point forward. So obviously we're talking about the Gamecube today. I'm looking specifically at just our top 10 favorite or fun or most played or what we think is the best Gamecube games. So I think after this where I was like, I don't know if I can make a list of my top 10 favorite Wii games. I don't think 10 exist.
Yeah. Oh God. That's one console generation that I'm like, is there 10 good games? And as soon as we started answering that question, you're like, let's just not do this.
When we first jumped into this project, we were going to do every system, only video games, but you've already seen that we sometimes talk about Saturday morning cartoons, our comic book characters. So we do some other stuff too. And I think we have one other show, maybe do some other video games before our list is over, but it falls off pretty quickly. And it's one of those things. The Wii, what did you play a lot of the Wii? Rock Band. Is Rock Band your favorite Wii game?
So confession time. I actually owned a Wii for a few months, and then I got rid of it because I just didn't use it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I had a Wii. I played it all the time. You know why? Because they had a virtual console store, and I bought Mario 3 and Super Mario World and Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, and I just used it as an emulator. Really, what did I spend the majority of the time playing? Future consoles, I played old games. So it almost doubled back on itself, and I was like, oh, that's sweet. The Wii can also play GameCube games. So
yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. It's now that I think about it, it's the Wii was kind of ahead of its time for its virtual console library and being able to play GameCube games. Only now are we finally getting to a half-assed version of that with the Switch 2 and the GameCube online, which has 3 games. So really hard work that they did there to have 3 games on there.
But it's kind of a commentary on just the state of video games at this time, right? Because every console was doing that. The PS3, what was it? It had some big league titles, right? Shared a lot with the Xbox, obviously, but then they had their PSN network, and you could get the old PS games for $5 kind of thing, and download, your Metal Gear Solids, your Resident Evil, your Final Fantasy 8s, your Medieval, and you'd be like, I'm gonna have a great weekend for $20, right? And then the same thing, they were kind of doing the big, more high concept party games, right? You got your motion sensors, right? Your PlayStation Moves, your Xbox Connects, your obviously whatever Nintendo was doing with their Wii, and then somehow they perfected motion controls and controllers on the Switch, and they just went away from motion controlled games, whatever, right? But you see the divulgence into the next phase of kind of the VR gaming, which is kind of the next immersion. But then you also have the party games, right? The Rock Bands, that kind of goes into the motion games, the let's play as a group, play everybody. It's an inclusive experience. So you kind of just see moving away from console exclusives and kind of these things that console wars start to kind of decline probably around this generation. It all just comes whitewashed, and we were just talking before this, the state of current video games, not great. Everything feels the same. You kind of understand what they're doing. The games, they run smoothly. It's awesome. There's no loading screens, but every time you move between those crates, that's just a loading screen now, right? And that's why the game slows down. So they mask it in different ways, right? But I think this is kind of the PS2, GameCube, Xbox 360? No, 360 was paired up with the PS2.
No, so
or
the
PS3?
360, PS3, Wii are all the same generation. I have to look it up because I was like, what the hell was I doing instead of playing
because we
a Wii? I was playing a 360.
because I did the stupid thing, where I made the Xbox and the PS1 technically the same kind of console because I wanted to throw some like Xbox love your way. I see what happened. Yeah. Okay, that's where I got screwed up. Yeah, I screwed myself up. Neat.
Yep, no, it's all good. And it's like, yeah, I think I was playing a lot of 360 at this point. So for me, I was like probably still grinding out a lot of Halo, playing some Assassin's Creed. That was those are, and maybe some Mass Effect and some Red Dead Redemption, some BioShock.
Very much so. And the marketing to the boys was like, check it out, guys. We got blood. We got guns. Yeah, PS2, Xbox.
Gears of War lived and died by the. So we have a gun that has a chainsaw. And
no, you jumped ahead. You jumped ahead too far. That's Xbox 360. You have to go back to just Xbox.
Oh, original Xbox.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the world of the PS2, the world of the Xbox, right? The Halo, the Tony Hawk. Right. What other games kind of popped to mind quick off the top of my head?
I always, whenever I think of the original Xbox, I always think of like the Outlaw Beach Volleyball and Outlaw Golf. We played a heck of a lot of those games because we were like, somebody played Rico Suave.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's always like
100%.
Three girls with giant, massive boobs and little bikinis, and then like the one Speedo guy. And Dad walked by and was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Like, what's that guy doing wearing a banana hammock or something? Yeah. Shit. It's like that's Rico Suave. Yeah. You respect
He's
him.
Awesome. Look at this spike. Right. But playing those games, Grand Theft Autos, right? Like we kind of mentioned, all those games are coming out. And they're more mature, and we're running over prostitutes, and we're beating people down with baseball bats and stuff like that. Whereas Nintendo's kind of doing its own thing and giving you more of a child friendly. We have Toon Link appearing, right? We kind of went over that in our Twilight, our Wind Waker show, right? It was kind of. I think it was a good move long term because the games still look great in the cartoony nature of any of these games, and I think they hold up. And I think GameCube is the far superior system compared to the Xbox. Not one, but the first Xbox or the PS2, right? Go back and play some of those games. You're like, I need memory cards, and there's loading screens out the wazoo. I mean, I guess so did GameCube, so there's nothing great there, right? But the fact they've come back, lots of these titles have been remastered, put on the Switch. People have been playing them, and they're like, oh, these are great. I love them, right? So there's just kind of more of a majesty behind kind of these GameCube titles that we're going to get into today. But I thought kind of we needed to have a little bit of a discussion disclaimer. Like, why aren't you guys doing more video games after this? It's like, ugh. Because honestly, if your list consisted of like Rock Band 2 and Guitar Hero World Tour and SingStar and like Wii Sports, and you're like, man, I had the best memories. You know, I had like this big group of friends. We played them all the time. It was so much fun. Yeah, of course. That's a fun experience. That's great. But it's a different experience than kind of what we've been going through with these lists, at these retro titles like the N64 that the Super Nintendo's kind of brought into our lives. So obviously they're a little different. And we'll kind of, just end our last kind of big Nintendo-y one today. Yeah, go from there. So how's that for an intro?
Yeah, I think it was good. We kind of made a couple digressions even into some modern gaming and where we think it's at. But yeah, no, I mean, I always look fondly back on the GameCube. There's a couple games on this that I was like, man, I don't like. My list kept growing and growing and growing as it usually does. So I'm sitting at my 15, but I'll give you guys my honorable mentions once we kind of get through it. But man, there's so many good games on this system that I was like, yeah, this game needs to be. Oh, and this one. Oh, yeah, and this one. Oh, and this one.
That's the thing. I kept setting up a list. I maybe got like 6, 7 deep, and then I was like, oh, one of the best games ever still has to go on this list. Oh, another one of the best games ever. Oh, another one of the. I was like, oh my goodness, right? So yeah, no, tons of great classics coming at you today, and just a little bit more to kind of sink our teeth into a little bit. So without further ado, we are going to be normal people, guys. We are going to run from 10 all the way to 1. I made that joke a bunch at the beginning, and then I fell apart, but yeah, we're going to do it normally 10 to 1. We'll give you a recap somewhere along the way, try and keep it somewhat cohesive. Although most of our shows, I went back and listened, they make sense. Sometimes you get lost in the sauce. There was one I was like, I have no idea where we're at, I think it was like the comic book one. But I made like 4 mistakes. Like at one point I just talked about Wolverine like 5 spots too early, whatever. So we're going to talk about a game the second time it appears. So listen, well, let's start off our list and stop talking about past things. We'll focus on the present. What do you have at number 10?
Well, I'm just making some quick little audibles after looking this one. But number 10, I got Resident Evil 0.
Billy!
I don't see it on your list.
Yeah, no.
So,
I played through it. I don't know if it's as strong entry that the RE series gave us onto the GameCube, right? I went and played through them all the RE games a couple summers ago. And this is just one of those, it's fine. Honestly, it's fine. It just, item management system between the two characters, and there is no, they got rid of the storage box, right? So literally you spend the whole game lugging items around, and you can drop them. And then you have to like run Rebecca across 4 screens to pick up all your items, like run back and drop them, and then kind of get set up for the next area. It becomes quite tedious. The switching between character mechanics wasn't my favorite. But why did you have it at number 10 instead of me just poo-pooing it? Why don't you tell me why you're...
I mean, I really think that I like these Resident Evil games. Okay. This is like took that next step for me. I was like, wow, all these Resident Evil games are so good. So you're going to see probably a few of them on my list. Mm-hmm. This one just, I haven't played it in a little while, so maybe I forget a little bit of the frustrations. But I always remember enjoying it. And it was just another fun RE experience, pretty like freaky, had some good atmosphere. I didn't really care for the characters, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really care about the characters. I care more about this world that we're in. So I was having a blast. At least I remember having a blast. Okay. I when I first bought my GameCube, this and the RE1 were like the games. I'm like, hey, these go on the list. These are the first 2 I'm taking. This is why I'm buying this console right now. And then I kind of kept it building from there. So little side tangent. I actually got my GameCube because I got frustrated with my 7th Xbox 360 breaking on me. Or was it my original Xbox dying on me for the 5th time? And just the Xbox, like the Xbox hardware was just god awful. I think I always ended up buying
I want to say it was a 360.
So same here. So I think I bought this a little later.
You definitely had it. Yeah, you had it later because like it might have been closer to like a PS3, and I think you had like bought a bunch of these. Well, it was cheaper, right? It was back when you'd like walk into a GameStop and you'd be like, "Wow, look, we got Twilight Princess and Rogue Squadron. Oh, 3 copies of Rogue Squadron. Cool, the special limited edition one." And your guys are only selling it for $5. Okay. Now they're just like hounds, and they're like, anything has any value, they're like, oh yeah, this Xenogear for the Wii that's like a faded cover that's been sitting in our display window is actually $300. I'm like, oh my god, it's worth money, don't you? I hate you.
Yeah. So I remember trading in all my Xbox stuff. I was done with it because I didn't even get to play the last one. I think I went on a volleyball trip, came back, and it was bricked, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So I took everything in, used my warranty, because I was always buying the 1-year warranty or whatever. So if you had an issue in a year or 2 or whatever, you could just swap it out. And I used it every time. So anyways, that's a side tangent about Xbox.
No. Hey, you know what? GameCube, but that's an amazing beginning, right? Intro. How did this come into your life, right? Like we should have got into that, I guess, at the beginning. Yeah, like and Tyson said, he got into it a little bit later, so he wasn't into any of the launch titles, any of the hype. It was just kind of like pure and simple, what are the best titles, go kind of thing, right? So being released later into the library. For myself, I got this first summer. I'd have to look at specific dates, but I don't think I was probably on the PS5 until, I don't know, I'm looking at like a calendar, like this is going to jog my mind. But like, oh yeah, so if I remember correctly, I'm just trying to think of like year-wise.
Well, while you think of that, do you remember the first time playing it? Because I do. Because you had a friend who brought it over, and he I think he had Simpsons Hit and Run,
Smash and Luigi's Mansion, right? So I know that we played Smash, Luigi's. Yeah, it was like volleyball, basketball. He came in
and Mario Sunshine.
I don't know if he had. Maybe it had Sunshine.
Because I remember playing Sunshine, like I was sick the next day because he came over like on a Thursday, so I was like, I'm sick. As soon as everybody left, I ran and I turned on the GameCube because you guys are like, don't play the GameCube. So I went and turned it on, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to play this. Screw you guys. I'm going to enjoy these games. So I remember playing like one of the Simpsons games. I don't know if it was May have been Road Rash or like the crazy taxi one, not
okay,
the hit
that
and
works.
run one.
No, I would have thought Sunshine was just earlier in the system or later. So no, it works out. Math checks out. Yeah, that was definitely the first kind of weekend. First time I remember playing it, and then I didn't get into it probably till the previous summer or so, 2003. So it'd been out for a year or two. Had a summer job, used my money. I went and bought GameCube, Wind Waker, and Mario Golf. So that was kind of my first entry.
The platinum one. You got the silver one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of my
cool.
first experience, right? And I remember I took it to university with me. It stayed with me for a little bit until it died. And then I think I tried to like scam and was greasy EB games into like taking this broken system, and then I probably just threw it away or something, right? Gave it to someone. I was like, I don't want it anymore. Now I'm like, if only I had this broken GameCube. But I think I have a couple that I bought after the fact. So anyways, that's my life. RE0, a good entry, right? I argued that the first 2 hours of Silent Hill was worthy of a high spot on my list, right? So you'd be able to say that this is, there's flaws for sure. I can go through and I poke holes in every single game. It's an old game. RE0 though, the first hour on the train, switching between characters, it was a new mechanic. It was exciting. Had some creepy new enemies. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. That's awesome. Number 10, who do you have, Mick? Now that we're back on it, and we're not just talking about wherever. Oh, I've got a double entry here. So my first ever game, I just mentioned it. Mario Golf, I have at number 10 with Mario Strikers. So just in terms of Mario sports games, I was a little torn, right? Mario Golf, I fell into it. I loved it. I beat it. Like, I was the master of this game. I had all the control over the shots. I had excellent timing. I could go into the Grand Koopa Cup at the end, right, and walk away with like a -9 under par or something like that. It was excellent. It was just such a fun experience. It looked so clean. It looked so crisp. I was big into golfing at that time in my life as well, so it just it holds up really well in my mind. However, Mario Strikers I know is wait, hold, is it on your list? No, okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't have any of this part.
Okay, yeah. So Mario Strikers is just an elite, great, fun multiplayer sports game, right? That holds up today. My brother-in-law pulled it out over Easter or something like that. I think maybe it was Christmas, something we were visiting. Pulled it out a couple weeks ago, and we were playing with my nephew. Still holds up really well. Super fun to play. I know people talk about like they used to have tournaments, and it was one of those things where it stuck around for generations, right? The Wii was out and people would still bust out the Strikers because it was just a fun, good, great time. There was a big call for when Strikers on the Wii, actually when the network went down, apparently that was a pretty popular multiplayer game. Lots of people played that online as well. So just those two series between Striker or Golf, that is why they make my number 10.
Yeah, good games. I don't remember getting really too much into Strikers. I feel like I played it and I enjoyed it, but I don't have any like memories that stand out with it. Or Mario Golf, but the Strikers, oh man, that was one of the other games that I added to my list. And I think the girl I was seeing at the time, her and her cousin, were always coming over to my house, and they were like, "Let's play Strikers," because they were kind of good at it. And it was a intuitive enough game where like none of us liked soccer. None of us were like big soccer fans, but playing Mario Strikers, everybody was like, "Okay, give me this controller. Wow. I'm gonna like use this super shot and just like own you." So it was a lot of fun, and I remember like having a lot of like heated battles with the couple of my friends at the time during the summer, and that was just like this was in the rotation. This and another game that's on our list. It's like, man, these games were like just perfect little party games, and there was Mario sports games. They were like, how can we condense this into a fun, quick little gameplay loop and just repeat? And they did a great job. I still think this is probably one of the best soccer games that ever been made. So, but that's my bias.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think it holds up, and yeah, it belongs on any sane person's top 10 list at least. That's why I have it at number 10. And to your previous point, no one likes soccer. You live soccer.
It's true. All right. True.
Who do you have at number 9?
I played some audibles here. I kind of switched a few things around. But I got Simpsons Hit and Run.
Okay.
Man, I love this game. Simpsons, but GTA. This might be the best Simpsons game ever made. So I felt bad not including it in the top 10. Yep. I was sitting down in the honorable mentions, but I was like, no, not happening. So yeah, great game, so much fun. I just like, I love this game. I still sometimes just think about this game and I'm like, if I could just play this game right now, I'd be so happy. But I don't want to like have to mess around with emulators because I just can't get my hands on it. I'm hoping that maybe one day we'll get another fun Simpsons game, but probably not.
So I can't speak to this, but have you ever played The Simpsons? Wasn't there like a 2005 or something release on like the Xbox 360, PS3? Because I feel like I have one where you go to the land of chocolate and it's kind of an open world platformy game. Is that not good?
Yes, that's Simpsons the game.
Yeah.
It's all right, a little bit too platform heavy, so it can kind of get frustrating. There was no platforming in this. This was just like
drive around chaos.
Drive around, beat up people.
Sure.
Apparently, there's like the story that like they didn't know how Matt Groening was going to react to like the game, and then he was running around as Homer, and the first thing he did was started punching Marge and like punched her down the street and just laughed his butt off about it.
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, because it's a fun, goofy game. Like obviously this isn't like canon or anything, but it's like this was peak Simpsons gaming for me. So it had to be on my list somewhere.
Yeah, that's solid. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I played it once. I remember just kind of being frustrated, not knowing where to go, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me, right? So, but probably literally only ever played it that first time. So it's on eBay. Just saying, I've got a dusty old GameCube that might work in cellophane over on the shelf. Might be buying it for myself. At number 9, I'm going to stay in the Mario sports-ish franchise, and I'm going to go with Mario Kart Double Dash. It still looks beautiful, guys. It's an awesome, great, clean looking game. Nintendo is really cooking with kind of their graphics. I think they hold up extremely well, right? As soon as I hit the disc for them, they made everyone kind of rounded. You go back and you can play it right now, and you're like, yeah, this is good. This is awesome. It looks nice. It's super fun, and it's just one of those replayable games, right? It kind of infiltrated all parts of our society at one point too. Why did it make my list? Because I know I played it a lot in McDonald's when I was in university and hungover, and I'd be sitting there eating my little like Happy Meal with a buddy, like sitting there playing some Mario Kart Double Dash until we got kicked off because some kids showed up or something like that, right? So no, just a very fun, awesome, cool experience. I don't know what game beat it. I guess Mario Kart Deluxe for the Switch was like the next best one, right? But I don't think any of the handhelds it surpassed this in kind of its permeance in our society and our gaming culture. And then I don't know, like the Wii and Wii U, they were fine, and people liked the Wii because like you could drive and steer, but that's really a terrible mechanic and like
and it was so bad.
Like again,
cool, get out of here.
You turn the controller right and you go right. Yeah, motion controls, right? Like we were a young.
Sometimes.
I mean, watch someone play VR. You're gonna be like, you look so stupid. It's the same thing. Right? You're like, but it's so fun inside. Right.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things. But this was up until, like I said, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that just came out on the Switch kind of probably surpassed this in terms of just kind of bang for your buck, how much you could play it, replayability. But I think incredible little title, Mario Kart Double Dash, and that's why it's my number 9.
That's fair. I got it down on my honorable mentions, just for the nostalgic of playing it with my friends that summer, because this was the other game that we were rotating. It was either Double Dash or Strikers. So lots of fun, great game. I had a blast with it. I still kind of hold this on a pedestal. I'm like, is this the best? Is this the best game or Mario Kart game? I mean, I've played almost all of them, and I kind of still just like this one. Just like leaves me with warm and fuzzy memories, as opposed to some of the other ones. Where I'm like, well, this was an experience. Yeah. I'm putting it down. So yeah, great game. Glad you included it on the list because, man, it's peak. It's pretty peak.
Sweet. And then basically going forward from this part of our list, I think we have a lot of remakes, so we won't be talking about too many other games. Whereas, like Saturday morning cartoons, we were all over the place. We each talked about 20 games, right? We talked about 20 different superheroes kind of thing. So this one's gonna be a little bit more refined, kind of going forward. Starting with your number 8, Tyson. Who do you have at 8?
I got Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, but you have that on your list a little bit higher, so we will talk about it then.
And we'll jump to my number 8. So this is when it's going to start being like, okay, when the hell do we talk about these things? Man, I'm going to get Super Smash Brothers on the board at number 8, but I see you have that a little bit higher on your list, so let's talk about your number 7.
My number 7, I have the Resident Evil remake.
Wow, that's higher up on my list. So I guess we'll talk about my number 7, which is Twilight Princess. Oh wait, you have it higher up on your list? Okay, cool. I guess we're on your number 6.
It's funny how we had just a chunk there. We were just disagreeing on where it belongs. So my number 6 is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I love this game. I know it's not on your list, but
I never played it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've only ever watched you play it. It looked fun. I think I maybe played through the first hour or so of the game, but yeah, that was you and our cousin. I think I was working this summer, and you guys had bought that in one of the Tomb Raider games, and you guys played this, and I never touched them.
That was Angel of Darkness. Yeah, there's a reason I played Sands of Time. Pretty fun mechanic. It lets you rewind time, so if you miss a jump or whatever, just rewind it. I was like, man, I wish this was a feature in more games. Honestly, just give me this little rewind feature as a built-in mechanic, and it kind of you could troubleshoot what if I do this? No, that didn't work. What if I do this? No, that didn't work. What if I do this? Okay, that worked. And it was just it's fun. It's super engaging. I think this is one of the very first games I remember beating from start to finish, no walkthroughs or anything. It made me fall in love with the Prince of Persia series. It made me a lifelong Ubisoft sufferer, because you're never a fan of Ubisoft. You just suffer through the dregs for every so often. You get some little gems. And this is the game that sunk its teeth into me. I loved it. I thought it was super cool. I am looking forward to, apparently they're coming out with a remake. They were originally going to do a remake, and then it got spun off, and now apparently they're redoing the remake. So we will see what it looks like when it lands. But I love this game. I think this might be one of the best games ever made. It's so fun.
Awesome.
So I speak so highly of it. I love it. That's why it's my number 6.
That's fascinating, because I know when the new Prince of Persia game came out last year, you were a champion. You're man, you should go play this. And I was that series doesn't speak to me. But if this is your jumping off point, and this is one of those games that you cherish, you got to play, you got to have an experience, right? Kind of with our cousin without me around for. Of course, that's why you like it more than me, right? You probably also, there's some point where you got into Ninja Gaiden, right? And I'm Ninja Gaiden. But no, that's awesome. That's kind of your kind of jump off points to the series. I like I said, I think I remember enjoying the parts of the game I played. It's always been one of those things I kind of want to go back to. It probably should be on our list, right? We're just making a list of games right now, like Simpsons Hit and Run, Prince of Persia. Maybe as we start looking at better games in the future, maybe those are the kind of games where we sink our teeth into, right? So no, really excited to kind of get this. I just don't have the experience, right? Not against playing it by any means. If there was a remake, I'd definitely be jumping on and be like, ooh, a remaster, perfect, that's great. Because I need better graphics. That's what I care about. I'm a modern gamer.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's just I don't really care so much about the graphics. It's accessible again. It's accessible again. Thank goodness. It's not just sitting in some vault somewhere.
I was just shitting on the gaming culture. I wasn't not the specific. Yeah. I also, when a remaster come out, I'm it's accessible. Cool. I can just put it on my Switch and sit on the floor and play it. Cool. I don't have to be hooked up to a computer. Cords.
Oh, and if they give you 2 or 3 different games wrapped in a bundle, I'm well, here's my money.
Yep.
The Turtles collection. I was I don't need these games, but I want.
I'm gonna have them on 3 systems. Some I don't even own. Yeah, I do that too.
Yep.
All right, cool. For myself, number 6, I have a different game as well. Not Prince of Persia, but Rogue Squadron for the Gamecube, which recreates a lot of the famous pilot scenes, the space battles from the original Star Wars trilogy, right? So I think one of the finer points of this is if you wanted to do the trench run. Right, you want to do the Battle of Endor. You want to hide from the Empire. It's kind of recreated all of these big iconic moments, and again, just stunning visuals. Right, you put this game on today, and you're like, man, this looks like it could have been made recently. Right, maybe it's not as clean around the edges, and there's some draw distances. Right, some silly things pop up, but man, this game's almost 25 years old. Right, so it's one of those things that just holds up. It's great. If you're a fan of the Star Wars games, going and getting to replay all of these kind of epic space battles, right, that you've seen on the big screen and kind of experience them and play around all the different ships. And it's not super heavy on story, and it's not a narrative driven, but if you just want kind of fun, I'm going to get lost in the Star Wars universe a little bit and play around and see how does that X-Wing handle differently from the Millennium Falcon, right, in certain situations. You can kind of play around with that, and GameCube, or Rogue Squadron, that's why you made mine number 6.
Yeah, good game. I mean, this is a game I've actually missed.
Okay.
Like, I think I played a little bit of it, but I definitely, no, definitely didn't finish it or whatever. So maybe it's one of those games where I'm like, maybe I do order this. But I think I'm, yeah, I definitely gotta I gotta play this game. I gotta play this game at some point. So,
well, and there was one for the N64 too that we also missed, right?
Right.
That one's called Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Oh wait, what's the one for the Xbox called? Maybe the Xbox or the GameCube's.
Is it Rogue Leader?
It is Rogue Leader, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember everybody screaming its praises, but I'm like, I just haven't got around to it. It's on my to-do list of this growing forever backlog that will never, ever, ever go away. But I'm trying to work my way through it, even if I have to just beat games on easy.
And I mean, I don't think to get the experience in. If you like something, you can always return to it as well, right? So there's nothing to do with that. But yeah, no, it's funny that Rogue Squadron and then Rogue Leader. Sorry, that's what it's called. Yes. So what other? So Death Star Battle of Hoth. I thought there was another one. Oh yeah, Battle of Endor. Cool. That's like Mission 9. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of excited for it. I think if we add this to the list, I'm going to be looking forward to it.
Well, I'm glad this podcast is just turning out to be like, what are we going to do next year?
Well, you know what? If we do those games, I think we got a good year. We went through some dregs,
we've done
man.
So
I was just
much crud. Like we should just skip through things faster and got to like better eras of gaming. Although this might be more expensive, right? Because if I'm trying to like buy some of these games, I'm like, I don't want to emulate it. I'm spending $90 to play Simpsons Hit and Run for a podcast that 50 people listen to, and I'm not making any money off of that. I mean, it's a hobby, so I guess that's fine. But just one of those. I'm like, my craw. Damn my craw. Speaking of my craw, what do you have at number 5? What is your number 5 game?
Oh, my number 5. I got Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, I love Metal Gear. I'm going through a bit of a Metal Gear, so it's probably a little bit inflated on the list. It was actually, I did a little bit of switching around literally as we were hitting record. This was sitting down in 9th or whatever, but I was like, I gotta make room for Simpsons. So this one got an audible. It got moved forward. I like this game. I think, I always loved the very first Metal Gear Solid. Yep. This got slightly better graphics, and you can shoot little Yoshi toys or whatever. It's like, it's good. I mean, I have very fond memories of this. So, that's why it's up there. It's Metal Gear. We talked forever about it. Go back, listen to our podcast if you want to hear us yammer on about this, because I love this game.
Yeah, no, awesome, great, classic, phenomenal video game narrative in terms of where were video games going, right? That was kind of Konami's big directive with this. Was it's a narrative, it's a visual medium. We should use it as such, right? We shouldn't just create long linear corridors. It should be more of an exploring world and twists and turns, and it should be a story that you want to go back to. And you're like, oh, I understand. That's why you gave him the shot at the beginning. I understand now, Naomi, after playing this game for the last 30 years, and be like, I don't understand the plot of this game. Finally, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. No, but this is a great entry. I had a blast playing it a couple years ago. I think we went for like an hour and a half just kind of gushing over this game, right? So I didn't include on my list because replaying Metal Gear Solid 2 kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I might need to get back into Snake Eater to give it a try and say like, oh yeah, no, these games can be good, but I'm like, I don't know if I can go back to those first two at this point. Just need a break. Hence why I didn't make my list, but it's probably up there. I think it's a clean, awesome version. Yeah, it's fine in any top 10 list, right? So.
Yep.
Cool.
What you got at number? What the heck?
Number 5. Now we finally get to talk about your number 8, which is Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door. Paper Mario was a Smash late entry on the N64, though I fell in love with it. I loved this. We talked about it when we played the game. I'm sure we talked about it when we mentioned in our top 10 N64 games. I imagine it was probably there. It's just a super fun, clean, cute RPG. It's not very difficult, right? But it's not really the point. The point is you're being semi-challenged as you go through a cute little narrative as Mario. This was just the Paper Mario on steroids. Bigger world, things are cleaner, way better animations. With the remaster that came out last year, right? Getting kind of just that accessibility to get back into play in this game, it stands out head and shoulders. If you want to say that Paper Mario 64 is better, it's your favorite, yeah, I get that 100%. But Thousand Year Door is just such a sublime, greater, more in-depth, substantial experience that it made number 5 on my list for that reason, right? So it's great. It's the only RPG I guess I'd return to on the GameCube, right? So a system, lots of platformers, lots of racers, lots of genre-defining things. Only one RPG.
Yeah, definitely a lacking thing. I'm sure there's some like random like.
You guys didn't even mention Tales of Symphonia. Episode 5, The Stargate Awakens with the Child's Dream. Like, do you guys even game?
Yeah, or like, I'm sure there's a Star Ocean game that you're like, yeah, there's a Star Ocean game. Like, I only like Second Story.
There's a Battle Axe or a Golden Axe or a Fantasy something that we're not mentioning.
Oh, there's probably a Phantasy Star Online. This is probably the birth of Phantasy Star Online because I feel like that stupid online game that people like, how is this game still alive? Like, my God. Or there's probably like I don't know. I actually feel like I was playing a lot more RPGs on the Xbox, and the Xbox is not known for its RPGs, but Lost Odyssey is pretty good.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, why did you have Paper Mario on at number 8?
Good game. I mean, like I think so. This is, in my opinion, the last good Paper Mario game before they start being like, here's a sticker.
Yeah.
Here's an origami mechanic, and you're like, I don't care.
I just want to grind and get a new hammer. That's all I want.
I want a new hat. I'm like, this one's fun. Got a cool world. I think this has actually kind of got a little bit of a sadder story. Bought it, haven't finished it. I feel like I just kind of got uninterested after a while, so it didn't really get its hook to me as the first Paper Mario, but it's still a fun game. And like, I was definitely like, I should play this and get my way through it. So, it's a good game. Definitely deserves to be on a top 10 list. I just, I haven't beat it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So there's my disclaimer.
Cool. I mean, for myself too, I was walking in an EB Games randomly one day, looking at the old used GameCube games, and Thousand Year Door was sitting there. And I was like, man, I've heard about this game. I've always wanted to play it. Grabbed it, beat it, and I was like, phenomenal. That was a great experience, right? So that's kind of how I kind of dummied my way into that. And a lot of these kind of games just fell into my life through happenstance, right? I didn't get it at launch or hit a hypes video. It's just kind of like, oh, you find it and you're like, all right, solid, good, great, right? Didn't get to, but it was after the fact. It was a little while later, right? It was like kind of towards the buildup of us starting this podcast, right? So within the last 15 years is probably when I did first play for the first time. Stuck with me. Obviously really like the original. But no, I just like, it's great. Just gives my heart a warm feeling playing through the game. It's fun. It's somewhat challenging, right? The action commands actually are like, there's actually strategy in this. Neat, cool. I mean, you can cheese it very easily. I think there's like a couple badges you can get early on, or if you get enough badge power, like Zap Tap, and there's another danger thing. So you just put yourself in danger all the time, and you do stupid damage. I think that's how I played it. I was like always in peril or something like that with like 2 hearts, but my power bounce would start at like 10. It'd be like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, so I could kill like most guys. It was good. It was fun, right? And it's one of those, I've played it a couple times. There was a higher level challenge, and getting kind of overpowered early on in a game like that, you're like, this is very satisfying. That's probably why I beat it on the second playthrough last year, to be honest with you. I recommend that. Get overpowered. It's a good time. What do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I got Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Solid.
You had this a bit further down on your list.
It was my 8, yeah.
It's understandable. I mean, I really like this game. This is my favorite Smash Brothers.
My favorite GameCube game. Like, no, it's not.
No, my favorite Smash Brothers, easily. It's my goodness, it's so good. This did everything right. Mm-hmm. Only for the other games to just never reclaim this. So, yeah, I had a blast. I think that this was, people called it broken. The C-Stick was cheating, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I had so much fun with this game. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I think it's tight. It's fun. It added a bunch of cool characters. It was just better fighting mechanics. I put countless hours, and whenever me and all my basketball buddies were together, we were playing Smash Bros. Melee. And you would always get that one jerk who'd play like Fox or like Ness, and you're like, why are you good at this character? He's so frustrating. As I'm just like ripping around with Link. So it was good. I mean, I have super fond memories of this. Like I said, I think it's my favorite.
Yeah. It's still talked about. Yeah.
I think it's my favorite. Yeah.
It's still competitively gamed. People love this game. People that jumped into it and got to play it with their four friends, right? So a big part of the GameCube too was, well, no, the N64 did it. But having that 4-player availability, right? You could kind of have everybody bring over your controller and plug it in. Really good, clean way. I imagine modern gaming. Like if that was still a thing, like we still went to people's houses and like hung out, just bringing over a controller that you could pair is probably comparable. It would be fun. I don't know if we do that as a culture anymore, right? Do the big kind of hangouts. But yeah, I did not play this game outside of a couple matches early on. It's a Simpson hit and run effect, right? I played it right off the bat and then never touched it again, never fell into it. Haven't found it in my life. That's why it's my number 8. I put some respect on it. I know it's got a big community. It's got a big following. People say it's the best. It's their favorite. It has so much diversity. It has a very strong competitive scene. I think even now, right? There's still probably Super Smash Brother Melee tournaments, right? Like Tyson said, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is pretty good. Like if you want just kind of like pound for pound a collection of everything, that is like kind of one of the definitive experiences. But I don't know if it's as loved, right? Because it's all the online play and stuff, right? But no, awesome, great experience. I don't have what Tyson has, right? Where I want to push this game up higher because of all the competitive battling. I just don't. So that's why it's a little bit lower on my list. But I'm aware of that existing, hence why it made my list. So good with that. Points or more Smash Brothers?
No, it's all good. Let's roll on over to your number 4.
So my number 4 is actually your number 3. So I guess we just talk about your number 3 now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
we have Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Where'd everybody go? Bingo.
The game that either in. Yeah. Well, who doesn't love Leon? Yeah. And I think that this game was, one of the last, in my opinion, one of the last great RE games. Because after this, it kind of made them re-change the direction of the game. I think they're kind of getting a little bit back on track now, but seeing that RE9 trailer, I'm like, are we back on track? Or are we taking another side tangent?
It's literally ups and downs. It's literally a series of peaks and valleys, and that's RE Resident Evil. It just has been, always will be, right?
Yep. Is what it is. Yep. I mean, it's Capcom's franchise. They can do whatever they want with it. But this game was so much fun. Seeing that Chainsaw Man in the village for the very first time, you're just like, oh my God, run. Do whatever you can, run. And then you get a shotgun and you're like, I got him. And you shoot him like 6 times and he's still coming at you. And you're like, Yep. Then you get your head chopped off and you're like, well, that was fun.
Yeah. So, not to allude too much, I think this is actually a game we're going to look at for Halloween this year, right? So we're going to get back into the Resident Evil series, so kind of looking forward to that one. It's been a little break since we played 3 anyways, right? But like Tyson mentioned, Resident Evil humbly came on to it's just kind of one of the horror series with the first one. I think RE2, starring Leon Kennedy, kind of blew him out of the water, right? It was a bit more mature, it was a bit darker, you're in a city this time, and there's a zombie outbreak, and there was tons of puzzles. 3, right? Mixed reviews, mixed response. It's not bad. No, it just, I don't think hit the highs. And then Nintendo signs a deal with Capcom to do exclusive remakes for the GameCube, right? So they clean up RE, the remake. They make RE0, and then this was kind of their third and last entry that they were kind of contractually obligated to make. And they made one of the greatest action horror games that kind of defined a genre. And we'll get into that a little bit later this year. But almost every game after this game kind of looks like this game, because this game, they did it exactly right. They're like, this is what third-person action and shooting should be like. Yep, good job, Capcom, right? Story that you could take it or leave it, but the number of times I've played RE4, I never played it on the GameCube, actually. I found it on the PS2 a little while later, but I unlocked everything. I have a save file where Leon is in like a gangster outfit, and he has an unlimited rocket launcher, and Ashley's in a suit of armor, so she can never be picked up or hurt in the game whatsoever. It's very funny. I must have played this game hundreds and hundreds of hours, right, to unlock everything in this game. I think I just would beat it, jump back in, and keep playing it, right? Awesome, fun, fast-paced experience that I kind of started playing the remake that came out on the PS5 just this last week or so. It's not bad. It's all right. They had the bing.
Oh yeah, and it's got like
the bingo line,
iconic lines.
I was like, yeah, bingo. Yep. All right. So
what do you buying? Yeah. What are you selling? Like, come on, this is timeless.
Yeah. So no, awesome, great experience. Quick, it was a peak. Yes, 5 and 6 are overbloated messes. Chris punches boulders. Odd things happen in 6, and then 7. 7 is a good return. First person, creepy shooter. If you want to have your poop scared out of your pants, come over, we'll play it RE7 on the VR. You're gonna be like, I see, it's horrifying. That's great. RE8 was a bit more of like fairy tale, not as scary. I don't know if it's as well received as 7. So I don't know, we'll see what they do with 9, but it always seems like the kind of peaks and valleys. They make a great product, they throw some junk beside it, and then they like come back, and they've had a pretty good record of like returning to form. So we'll see where 9 gets us anyways, right? But yeah, RE4 deserves a top 4 spot, I think. It's a very, very, very solid title. Not exactly what I'm looking for, and I think there's just way cleaner experiences in my top 3, right? A bit more of an elite list, but at 4, I don't think there's anything to sneeze about. Tyson obviously liked it because he had it at 3.
Yep. So what do you have at number 3?
At 3, I have, didn't make your list, a game we just played. I thought it was an awesome, great experience. Metroid Prime. So it is the Metroidvania release for the first release in 3D. We just outlined it a couple months ago. I thought it was a very clean, faithful retelling of what a 3D Metroidvania should feel like. There was a couple confusing parts, right? But nothing a strategy guide. Like maybe 5 times where I'm like, this is terrible gameplay, or like, man, they should have made this loop better, man. But I don't think those 5 kind of criticisms, those bad parts of the game, should take away from what is a completely beautiful, amazing, visually stunning experience, right? That, is the level design is definitely a criticism, but I think if you can get your head around that and know that, maybe grab a strategy guide. Maybe this isn't the game to explore everything, right? Or give yourself 30 minutes and then jump into a guide and just kind of follow that when you get to a new area, just so you're not too lost and frustrated. But I think just awesome, excellent, phenomenal experience, and it deserves a spot in my top 3, my kind of top pantheon of what this system gave us.
Yeah, that's fair. I did have it on my list, but it's kind of, I let it fall off because I was like, I prefer The Simpsons over this. Just played it. I wasn't super in love with it. Like, obviously, I think it's still like an impressive, fun game, but just like, it's just not for me. I'm like Mick said, to grab a strategy guide. I'm like, I don't want to sit there and have to read a strategy guide every time. I kind of like just like exploring and running around, and the more I can just kind of like do that in a game and not get stuck, the more fun I have with it. As soon as I start having to be like, okay, I have backtracked every room for the 4th time, where am I supposed to go? And the map was terrible, and like the hint functions are kind of terrible, and it's just like, I just don't care. I just So it's further down on my list. It's kind of sitting in number 13 on my honorable mentions. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not for me.
Oh, and no, and this isn't a why isn't it higher on your list, right? I think, and again, I just kind of appreciate look at the what other games are there. Find me a PS2 game that handles, plays, or looks as good as Metroid Prime. You can't do it. It's not there. Look at its comparables. The Halo. This Metroid Prime looks so much better than, say, a Halo 2, right? You go in and play through that game, and you get through the world. And I'm like,
agree to disagree there.
But like, so I guess like the display, I was just like, the HUD is amazing, and you go through and like the frost on your visor, and I'm like, man, this just looks so stunning, right? The fact that they have just this nice, clean, crisp world, it just visually always sticks out to me. Anyway, so that's kind of, I just throw that out there at the end. But yeah, no, nothing. It does make your list, right? I also am a sucker for
that's
a good old Metroidvania. I'm like, ooh, a key. How can I use this in this world? What can I? Oh, I remember seeing that icon somewhere. I like that.
Yeah.
Huh, I have nothing to do. I'll just walk around this fire area a lot. Yeah, the level design is just ugh.
Yeah. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and
recency bias
also, like,
too, right?
the
What's my rule for making a video game list? Fun to play. Would I play this game? Would I play Metroid Prime? I just played it. I probably would. I thought it was a pretty good, enjoyable experience. But if you're like, nah, I just played it, I don't want to ever look at this again. Also, very, very, very fair, right? So,
yeah, I think also, like, just some of the enemies are just kind of samey.
Every enemy, yeah.
Where I'm just,
yeah.
Oh no. The thing that triggered me, should have brought this up, was the dang, like, thermal vision that just becomes a ugly smear of pixels, and you're just like, what am I watching?
Man,
what is this? Like, those different visors. I was like, oh my god.
They love their visors too. And boss, better know their visors. Woo baby. Woo baby. All right. But what do you have at number 2?
I got Wind Waker.
Oh, I have that higher on my list. So I'll talk about my number 2 right now, and then we'll get to that. Maybe if it's higher on my list at some point. Number 2, I have RE Remake. And it's your number 7. Okay, so it's on your list. Oh, that's neat. Cool.
Yep.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, it's there.
RE Remake, as we kind of mentioned, we played this game so early on, and I don't think we've returned to it, right? But when we go through our tier list, right, if you look at our tier list, you go through, and RE Remake, I think I made a case that it's one of the better, cleanest, best survival horror games that exists, right? They took this, essentially, which is a survival horror Zelda game. It's a lock and key, Metroidvania, puzzle, big giant box that is done incredibly well. Everything wraps in on itself. They did an awesome job recreating the original game and just making one of the finest puzzles, right? If you want to call it RE game, just a puzzle. It's beautiful. It's horrifying. It's creepy. The redeads is an amazing mechanic, right? They took this mechanic that had been around for the last 4 or 5 years in gaming, and they said, hey, those zombies that just dropped dead, what if they didn't go away? What if they got up and they're stronger? And you're like, oh, excuse me? They chase you around the house. It's just awesome, incredible, thrilling experience, right? If you kind of want that extra bit of horror. I was telling you that Silent Hill on the PS1, man, pound for pound, that first couple hours, creepy, horror-y game. RE Remake does everything better. From the jump when you first run into the mansion and you're getting chased by dogs to when you're shooting a big monster with a rocket launcher that was thrown to you from a helicopter. It's just such a clean, awesome, fun experience, right? Very replayable. You want to get good at speedrunning? This is a game that you can beat in a couple hours. Start to finish, run through it, both scenarios, 3-4 hours. You can beat that on a Sunday afternoon if you wanted, right? Super awesome, amazing experience. Man, I almost put it at number 1. It was honestly, I had it at number 1 for a really long time, bumped it down based on just some personal biases, I guess I have myself, but I had a really, really tough time saying, like, this isn't one of the best games ever made. You know, like, oh man, Remake, just phenomenal. Hence why it made my number 2. Tyson, why do you have it at number 7?
Yeah, well, I mean, great game. I love me some Resident Evil, and this was kind of like peak Resident Evil. It was so good that it made Capcom have to, when they were going through the lull of after Resident Evil 6 and everybody hated it, that they were like, let's just do the RE remake for Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Like it kick-started that. They were like, this worked so well, let's just give the people what they want, and they did, and people loved it. And it's like, yes, because you have a good, interesting world that's scary and it's creepy and it's got cool levels, it's got fun weapons, it's got fantastic enemies, and
everything builds on itself. The limited ammo,
yeah,
it's a stress. The fixed camera angles also a stress, and it's like part of the level design, and it's literally there because that's how they want you to experience the game. Right? And every little shadow and flicker, and, you know, there's something in the foreground that moves, and you're like, what the hell? It's all just kind of conducive to the major theme of the game, right? Survival horror. You just don't get that in a lot of experiences. The theme of a lot of games kind of get mixed. We were talking about playing through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Every, 5 minutes, you're doing something completely different. Oh, now you can run on the walls, but now you're going to be flying a helicopter, and, oh, you better learn how to surfboard. Okay, awesome. that's different, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this has a very clean, concise. That's what we're doing, right? And that's kind of what makes remakes so great.
But also, like, there's always some surprises where you're like, I hear something. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
I'm assuming that there's an enemy in this room, and it makes you like proceed with caution. So you always got to be like listening and investing in the world. But then there's some times where, like, the first time, if you don't know about the re-deads, all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, what the heck is this thing? And it has these little like jump scares and these moments where like you have like, it tricks your brain into like, okay, this is the comfort, this is what is expected of me, and then they'll throw a wrench in the works, and then you just got to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. And
I love that they do that. That increases the suspense, increases the horror. It's just like, it's such a good game. So.
Awesome, nice. So that only leaves 2 games on your list to talk about. 1 game on my list, but one of my games happens to be one of your games. So I guess we'll talk about that one right now. So all that leaves is my number 1, your number 2. And I guess you're number 1.
Do you want to do a rundown first?
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe you can give your 50 honorable mentions.
Well,
Super Monkey Ball 1, Super Monkey Ball 2, Super Monkey Ball 1 Deluxe Edition, Banana Blast, Donkey Konga.
Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Street Fighter. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I got 50. You
would have known we were like hardcore gamers if we would have been like, yo, Donkey Konga, badass. You want to play some like Kid Bop's version of Soundgarden? Yeah, that's right. Black Hole sung on Donkey Konga. Fucks hard.
You know what? Give me those bongos and I will have a good time. I will treat my neighbors to the joys of my poor rhythm.
Stupid rhythm, but like I kind of wish I had one. Anyways, your honorable mention list rundown.
Okay, I'll run through it. Okay, so number 15, James Bond, Everything or Nothing. I was going to put some more James Bond games on here, but I limited it to just one. 14, Def Jam Vendetta. 13, here's Metroid Prime. 12, Mario Kart Double Dash. 11, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a fun one. 10, Resident Evil 0. 9, Simpsons Hit and Run. 8, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. 7, Resident Evil Remake. 6, Prince of Persia. 5, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. 4, Smash Brothers Melee. 3, Resident Evil 4. 2, Wind Waker.
Oh, okay, all right. And I will run through my list, and then maybe you guys can figure out. So I got 10. I got Strikers and Golf. 9 is Mario Kart Double Dash. 8, Smash Brothers. 7 is Twilight Princess. 6, Rogue Squadron. 5 is Thousand Year Door. 4 is RE4. Number 3 was Metroid Prime. Number 2 was RE Remake, and that means my number 1 is Tyson's number 2, and that is Wind Waker for The Legend of Zelda. A couple years ago, we did a retrospective. We kind of dove through what is a beautiful, stunning high sea adventure told through the Zelda universe. I told you guys how narratively it kind of ties into some weird Japanese pirate anime or something like that. I remember that was a thing. And diving through a lot of the text and just kind of some of the missing pieces of the game, it almost does seem like there's kind of a greater narrative that was kind of missing in this experience, right? It's one of those things I love diving into this, getting to parse through what was said, what wasn't said, maybe some deleted scenes, some extra areas. Oh, what were they trying to go for, right? I know it's not the perfect experience, and it's maybe not the best Zelda story ever told, but pound for pound, it looks beautiful. I think it plays great. It holds up, right? Playing through that experience, we're like, man, it's just modern Zelda. Look at this. You fly around, you have a Deku leaf that you use to hover and do some platforming. Huh, neat. Cool. I wonder if that'll ever come back, right? So, awesome, incredible experience. I've said time and time again, one of my favorite games ever. So, kind of obligated to put it on top of my list. But I still think it's great. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, it's actually not the better than the remake. No, it's pretty phenomenal. So, why do you have it at number 2?
It's good. Good gameplay, like you said, it's a lot of those modern mechanics that just like, oh hey, this is where it got its start. Funny how that is. I had to kind of like knock a couple points off just because like the lack of dungeons, and just some like playing the GameCube version, like you just waste time. Like, oh, I got to travel all the way over there. Well, let's change the wind and we'll set our sails and let's put this down, and I'm going to go get myself a Coke and I'll be back in a sec. And it's just like, it feels like there's a little bit like it wasn't fleshed out. Obviously they were time crunched, I think, which is why those like later dungeons just kind of aren't even really dungeons. And I think that's the part that like detracts me. Like, who cares about kind of sailing or whatever? But it's like, it was the lack of dungeons. I felt like I was like, man, that's like a big part of Zelda games for me. And this just had a bit of a gap near the tail end of this. Like, starts so strong, then those last three were just like, and now it's over.
Yeah.
The end. You're like, okay. So that's why it's just kind of sitting in second and not in number one.
Sure.
So.
And I get that kind of the purist, but again, I will bring up, I think, a point I mentioned. It's got a very similar dungeon count to Majora's Mask, right? Majora's Mask was never ever criticized for that mechanic, right? So it's not every Zelda game has to be a straight line, 8 dungeons, go, right? You can kind of do different things throughout the world. So this one has, but that's just a thought to throw out there. We do have one more game to discuss though, which is the top of Tyson's list, and I think it was number 7 on my list. If you were paying attention and you were listening to our recap, you're like, oh, I think I can figure this out. Tyson, who do you have as your best GameCube game of all time?
I got Twilight Princess.
I thought it was on the Wii. Was it also on the GameCube? Huh.
I thought it was.
Yeah, of course. They
the
switched it.
game.
They switched it because Link had to be right-handed or something. So they mirrored the game in the
yes.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I like this game. I know a lot of people don't like this game, but it was kind of not quite Ocarina of Time, but a little bit more darker, a little bit more like mature. I mean, I know some people are like, but he turns into a wolf. What is this bullshit? But I was like, I kind of like that. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun mechanic.
In the last game, he used masks to transform into Zoras, right? You were just riding around on a boat in the sea. It's always been a little different, right? So you don't get on your high horse back. Oh, he's a wolf. Again, not you. I realize it's the person making that criticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. It's just a darker, cleaner, more mature take, right? If you were an Ocarina fan and you're like, I do kind of wish I had that tech demo. You know, like as much as I can say Wind Waker's great, that tech demo was pretty awesome, right? So I could see that kind of that desire to want this game. It's lower on my list because I do think there's an inflation problem, right? Whereas Wind Waker, you might be like, there wasn't enough story. Twilight Princess sometimes just has story for story's sake, and you're like, this is boring, and I don't like this part. And the dungeons aren't as fun, and the world's not as cute, and some of the items you get are fine. I don't know if they're as fun to use as, say, like the Deku Leaf, right? The Chain and Ball, it's very situational. The Spinning Top, there's like 4 parts to use it, and then you're like, man, it's could have been such a better item. The Dominion Rod. Do you like smashing spiders at one time? Yeah? Cool. Sweet. Right. So it's a little bit lower on my list just because of kind of the lack of greater narrative that I think is in the story, right? Introducing the Twilight people is neat, but it just turns out it was Ganon all along. It's always Ganon, right? Even though they built him up and then they just kind of destroyed him for the sake of the fan service that is Ganon, right? And now you're like, oh, there's, I don't know, other stuff. So it's just a little bit lower on my list because it doesn't have some of the more grandiose things that I look for in a Zelda experience. But by no means is it bad not to have higher on your list, right? Probably a game we're playing
it's personal preference.
Year. I think that's kind of what we talked about. We'll probably do some type of like retrospective on Twilight Princess. We'll do a deeper dive probably starting sometime in like we'll start in December, start releasing those shows in January. So that's kind of maybe as we plan the next couple of years anyways of this podcast, probably coming up. So we'll kind of get into it a little bit deeper, right? But anything else you want to say for your number 1 game?
No, I mean, I guess the only like one thing that always stands out is like the openings. The beginning intro's super slow. Mm-hmm. So I can see why some people are just like, I just can't get in this. Because you kind of got to put some hours into it before you're like, okay, now I get it. Because this game is a slow slog to get into it. But once you're kind of up and running, I think it's a lot of fun. But not a perfect game by any means. But none of the games on my list were a perfect game. So it's just like, it's fun. It felt right putting it in first. So that's where it landed.
Oh, that's awesome. So. That's sweet. Yeah. For myself, fun factor. I've tried it. I've tried it a couple times. I've got into it, and maybe that's it. Maybe I've played this game more than say Wind Waker, right? So it's kind of like the rub is off a little bit, right? It's definitely probably my Played it on the GameCube at one point. I know I played it on the Wii a couple times. I probably played it on the Wii. Yeah, 3. Okay. I played it several times. It just doesn't, I don't know. The sounds bother me. But the wolf mechanic, Midna, I think is a great character. Some of the narrative is fun. Some of the choices, I'm like, yeah. I see. Just because everyone can talk now doesn't mean they have to, right? So, and I think the open world, it had similar to like the Great Sea. You'd say there's nothing to do, and it's so big. Hyrule feels a lot like that, where you run around and there's like one little tiny island, this hill, and like that has a treasure chest in this giant field, and that's it. And you just basically run around on your horse. Oh, okay, neat, right? So it does have some of those those holdups, and maybe as we come back, kind of relook, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I could definitely see it knocking down a page. Or maybe you're gonna be like, no, I think this one holds up. It's great. It's awesome. I love every part of it, which is also a fair point to have, right? So.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's I think a lot of these GameCube games, like, we didn't even include Sunshine. Like, Sunshine isn't anywhere on here. Well, so the GameCube can be kind of hit and miss.
Also a game we're playing later, but Sunshine's kind of terrible. Like, there's a couple of missions. Yeah. Like, you really want to do the Manta Ray challenge, or like that red leaf where you're on those, like, the leaf that degrades in the acid and you have to collect all the red coins. And there's those platforming areas in the amusement park.
I'm not looking forward
to it. No, it is one of those things. I was like, I wonder if Tyson's just going to throw Sunshine on the list, because he's like, it's the best Mario game. And I'm like, haha, you're wrong. But no, you didn't fall for it. It didn't even make your top 15. So
no, it was like this is below Def Jam Vendetta.
Well, and think of some of the other games though, like that we looked at and talked about, right? Like even the Luigi's Mansion, we played that, and like I get that experience, and it's kind of there, but I'm like, I think there's just better experiences. I think the GameCube has a large variety, has a large library of. That's what I'd say. It's a library of variety, right? Every game is going to be a different experience. You're going to kind of see big swings. Right, we're going to see 2 different Zelda takes on Zeldas. We're going to see a take on a 3D Metroidvania. Right, we're going to see remakes of these other kind of horror franchises. We're going to see a return to car drivers and IPs and flight simulators and epic.
Heck, there's a 3D Sonic game on this one.
That's the thing, and like Mario parties, and just like so many games that you can play with multiplayers and different facets, and it's just starting to grow and develop, right? And as we kind of went through all these games, we saw very linear experiences. They made video games for one or two kind of people. You want to grind it out, you want to be tough, here you go, right? You want to play Beetlejuice on the NES because you watched the movie at the rental store, cool, right? That was I don't even know why I mentioned that. Sometimes I just think about Beetlejuice on the NES, because I liked Beetlejuice the movie, and then somebody like rented it for me and it sucked. I couldn't even get through like the first stage, and I was like, ugh, video games.
Yeah,
disappointment.
I can imagine
disappointment.
I can imagine that,
like a 4 or 5 year old.
But you saying Beetlejuice on the Nintendo, and you're like, I wonder what it's like.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh,
and then you're like, oh, I've been bit again. Whereas on the GameCube, you just don't get that.
No.
Like a lot of these games, like even games we didn't include on these lists, like I could have kept going from 15.
Sure.
And I could have kept going. Like you can easily almost do like 50 maybe games easy, just filling up like, okay, yeah, this game's also pretty good. Yeah, that game's also pretty good. Like there's so much variety. Like this game, this is why like I think we're gonna have a hard time getting past the GameCube, because there's a lot of really good quality stuff. And to be honest, I think once we kind of get past the GameCube, it's gonna be like, let's just pick and choose random games.
Honestly, that's kind of like, I don't know if Podtendo, if our show exists past the GameCube, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if getting into the Wii deeply and diving into those, or looking at like a Wii U or something like that, is probably in our horizon. So really, this is kind of our last kind of grasp. And like Tyson said, we'll just maybe we fade into obscurity. Yeah, maybe we just play 1 or 2 games a year and do something else, right? Kind of revamp things in the future. But really, ideally, I would like to kind of keep going and look at a bit more GameCube games. Because I think there's just tons of fun stuff, and different game designs and different development stories and fun stuff we can kind of go back and look at, right? So, it's kind of the last great era. Singular.
At least the Nintendo consoles, off the top of my head, like Yeah, you could say the
Well,
Switch,
things start
but it's
getting whitewashed too, right? This is the era where SSX Tricky comes out on the PS2, but also the GameCube. And there's one on the Xbox, right? And then by the PS3 360 days, the launch titles look pretty darn close. It's Madden, it's a FIFA, it's a boxing, and it's like 2 racing games. And they're all the same.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they're still trying to be like, oh, but you gotta like one or the other. I'm like, no, it's all the same. It's just you have like 4 different games. That's it. And the whole library, right? So it's kind of the end of an era. Kind of a fun kind of endpoint for our kind of video game kind of journey as we do this. I think we've got 3 more top 10s, right?
Yeah.
Something. So keep going.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think we'll be creative as we always are. Whenever we come up with a problem, we're not just like, well, throw in the towel. We're like, how can we come up with an interesting thing that kind of speaks to us? So stay tuned. We'll always try to keep you guys entertained. That's kind of why we're here. And I think that we got a lot to go through because, it took us bloody forever just to get off the Super Nintendo, and then the N64 kind of blinked by because there's just not a deep library on the N64.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that we're ready to buckle up and dive into these games because we can easily spend a lot of time playing GameCube. So.
Yeah, cool. We saw that a little bit last year. We kind of got into Wind Waker's, Luigi's Mansion. We're doing Sunshine this year, RE4. So they're coming. We'll be doing that probably a lot in the future. But yeah, for today, we're going to wrap this up. We're back with the second part of our 150th show extravaganza in 2 weeks. I think we're kind of finishing up Chrono Trigger and then looking back at the at least 100 to like 150 shows, I think is kind of the idea there. And then more stuff. I think we have a Zelda game coming up sometime in the summer. It's good times. Good times.
Our RE4, I think, if you were paying attention.
Yep.
So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We got lots of fun stuff coming.
Yeah, cool. So with that, we'll say bye, get out of here, and see you guys in 2 weeks.
See you.
Bye.